Among the highest degree holders working full-time in science and engineering in the United States in 2013, women made 31.3% less than men and a median annual salary of $55,000 for women compared to $80,000 for men, according to the Women's Museum in California in 2017. Through extensive research and my own interest being a STEM major, I have discovered that women have been discriminated against in the STEM community for far too long. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. Our society has shut women out of STEM at a time when we need them most. We need to collectively increase the representation and appreciation for women in STEM fields. Today I will be discussing why there are so few women in STEM majors and careers, why we need more women in these fields, and how we can increase the representation of women in STEM. There are multiple reasons contributing to the lack of women in STEM. An article I read called "Why Are There Still So Few Women in Science" by Eileen Pollock in 2013 explores the multiple reasons why there are still so few women in STEM fields. Pollock herself was a physics major at Yale and graduated with honors but did not continue on with physics as a career. Pollock wasn't even sure why she and so many other women were giving up on STEM before completing advanced degrees. She then decided to attend a tea held at Yale years after she graduated to interview female students interested in science and technology. The professor hosting the tea warned Pollock that only a few students would show, but when 80 students crowded the room, the women stood shocked. This goes to show that this has been a problem among more women than they had thought. The women each shared their own personal stories and frustrations they've had with being a woman in STEM. Women in STEM aren't supported to the same extent men are, which causes hesitation when going into the field. Pollock explained how she was interested in taking physics and calculus at a public school, but she was not allowed to because her principal believed girls never go on in science and math. This led to difficulty when she got to Yale because she was unprepared compared to the boys who were given access to take these higher courses. It is completely unfair that Pollock was set back due to her principal's discrimination towards women. Not one of her professors even urged her to go on for her PhD, which made her feel unworthy when in reality she was getting better grades than the boys applying to the school she was. It's extremely upsetting that society tells girls to just give up and boys to stick it out when women and men should be treated equally. Pursuing a career in STEM can lead to women feeling isolated among peers. Pollock explained she was exhausted by all the lonely hours she spent catching up to her classmates, hiding her insecurities, and struggling to do her problem sets while the boys worked in teams to solve theirs. Pollock faced intimidation and ridicule by being the only woman in the classroom and constantly felt like an outsider in her daily life. Pollock also described how she was tired of dressing one way to be taken seriously as a scientist while dressing another to feel feminine. Women in science already aren't taken seriously by men, so Pollock feels that she can't dress femininely while being around her male physics colleagues. Women are still underrepresented and underappreciated in STEM fields today, and that needs to change. However, women going into STEM majors and careers need to be aware of these difficulties to face because society needs more women in STEM. Society should care about the lack of women in STEM because it means we're lacking the perspective about half the world's population. No matter how hard we try to equalize things, men and women are different in fundamental ways. According to Sue Williams from INC magazine, in 2014, the world learned just 25 years ago that the women's heart disease manifests itself differently to men's. In 2014, a survey conducted by the American Heart Association, 6 in 10 women said that breast cancer was the most serious threat to their health, and only 1 in 10 said that heart disease. But statistics show that every year cardiovascular disease kills almost twice as many women as men. Since women were not given treatment tailored to their gender, with most doctors being men, they suffered unfortunate outcomes. Another example is that for decades, drug development testing was done on young male medical students, and when the drugs hit the shelves, women were prescribed the same doses as men. This is a problem because sometimes the medications didn't work as well on women, or they had extremely fatal outcomes. In 2013, the Food and Drug Administration reduced recommended doses of Ambien for women by half, as women were taking longer than men to metabolize the drug and were waking up and driving with the sleeping pills still in their system. These are just a few of the hidden costs of the low numbers of women researchers in STEM. It is 2019 and we need more women scientists who understand women to be able to help the medical field community with women-specific innovations. Now I will explain some solutions we can implement into our society. When it comes to women in STEM, there's a lot of talk about bias, role models, unequal pay, and lack of inclusion and support. When asked about how to encourage more women to join STEM fields, Camila Moracho, chemical and biomolecular engineer major, says, "Growing up and having to make a decision about what fields to pursue can be intimidating, especially with the rigor that comes with STEM fields. But women should look past their fears in entering a male-dominated field with hopes of making their own mark. In fact, one of the most crucial things a woman can do to help another woman succeed in STEM is to just be supportive." According to Andy O'Rourke, in 2016, U.S. Department of Education research shows female students who have strong self-concept regarding their abilities in math or science are more likely to choose and perform well in elective math or science courses and to select math and science-related college major or careers. Inspiring more young women to pursue careers in science start with female role models sharing their stories. We need to encourage women who have had success in these fields to share their stories and create a voice for those that are struggling. Lastly, according to Candace M. Hughes from the American Management Association in 2018, we need to increase the government and nonprofit grants and scholarships for mid-career STEM-trained women who want to switch or return key fields such as engineering or computer science. In conclusion, today I've told you about why there are so few women in STEM majors and careers, why we need more women in these majors and careers, and how we can increase the representation of women in STEM. Unfortunately, our society has shut women out of specific career fields for too long, and we need more representation and appreciation for women in STEM. Together, we must raise awareness in our community to ensure full accountability to advance women in science, technology, and for achieving gender inequality.